This is a T422 production.
If you want to talk some Simpsons, we do it with distinction. Insert brain here. With Springfield in our vision, our spirit is embiggened. Insert brain here. Flanders, Quimby, Otto, Man, the Hasapima, pedal on. Insert brain here. We've got Simpsons to ponder. Here comes David and Connor. Insert brain here.
Welcome back to Insert Brain Here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host Connor, and with me as always is my co-host David.
That's me.
Today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 14, Principal Charming. Original air date the 14th of February, 1991.
Nice.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
David?
Yeah. Ruined my day.
I haven't even asked you anything yet.
Go for it.
David, did you think that this episode, focusing more on side characters and not really at all on the main central Simpsons family, essentially for the first time, there are episodes that have incorporated side characters, but this feels like a very, almost you could say the first Spotlight episode.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Did you...
A real roundabout way of asking me.
Alright, fine, fuck you. David, what was this episode about?
I found this episode...
No. What was this episode about?
Yeah,
Give me a straight... I tried to be... you see me here, I'm a nice guy. I'm like Tony Soprano. I'm an alright guy. I try and come in here. I try and give you a way out. Answer this question, talk about the episode in a roundabout way. You won't have it.
No.
What was this episode about, David? Straight recap, if you could.
So this episode started off with Homer and Barney on the phone.
Oh, that's right. Homer's sleeping and Barney gives him a phone call and wakes him up.
That's correct. Telling him about this new barbecue place.
What's that barbecue place called, David?
Not got a clue.
What's it called? What's its name?
No idea. I read his shirt. I put the episode back so I could read his shirt.
Yeah.
He also then tells us it.
Says it out loud.
Yep.
Homer says it a few times as well.
Yep. Still don't know it.
All you can eat?
It's an all-you-can-eat
Barbecue
pit.
Yeah. What's the name of the guy?
Don't know.
Hmm.
Not got a clue.
Carry on.
There we go. So Homer and Marge, they agree to go to the barbecue place.
On Saturday. Yeah.
On Saturday. And they're looking to see if they can get Patty and Selma to childmind.
Yeah.
And...
They say they're going to a wedding, but that they can leave the wedding early because that's fine.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's their two co-workers who we never see again.
Yeah, and they're not bothered.
Aye.
They end up looking after them. Homer comes back, fucking popping belt. Absolutely.
Gut flapping out.
That's the one. Definitely his weight, at least, in barbecue food.
Yep.
From whatever that name of that place is.
Yep.
Selma gets upset about the fact that the guy that got married, the co-worker,
he almost sat next to her and spoke to her.
Almost. And
almost.
She seemed like she kind of liked the look of him, at least.
Oh, he was an alright guy.
Yep.
And that's all she can ask for.
Pretty much.
A fine guy.
Exactly. An okay man.
Mm.
And so basically she speaks to Marge and asks her, help find me a man.
Yeah.
And so Marge speaks to Homer and says, find her a man.
Yep. Gives
her a list of requirements and whatever.
Yeah.
Homer then starts terminating her around the place.
Scanning everyone. Carl Smithers, a person that he works with, someone that's not even someone man. At the Quickie Mart.
Yeah.
Apu.
Yeah.
A billboard.
Yep.
So on and so forth.
All that good fun.
Right up until Homer gets called into Bart's
school.
Elementary school because Bart's pulled a big prank. He's burned his name
into the lawn with some fucking chemical.
Yeah.
Homer's in the school and he scans Principal Skinner, who comes up as possible. Mm-hmm. Pros are hates Bart and other things.
Cons are could be a homosexual.
Yes, that's the one.
Aye.
So he offers to give them dinner and whatever else. So Skinner goes to dinner with the Simpsons. Selma's the one that's wanting a partner. Patty goes through
to offer him a
plate of food, and he's instantly in love.
Full on, head over heels, tears for fears, in love.
Yes, precisely. And so Marge and Homer and whatnot are trying to sort of advertise Selma as opposed to Patty, but he's having nothing to do with her. He wants Patty. So Patty eventually ends up going on a few dates with him, usually just punching him or slapping him at the end of the dates.
Kicking him into a wall at one point.
Yeah.
Really sending him flying.
And he's all for it, apparently.
Yeah.
Masochist.
Must be.
Yep.
Or just that in love that he's willing to
Maybe.
suffer.
Just tolerate. Yep. After a few dates, they end up kissing. Selma gets real upset and whatnot and wants Homer and Marge to find her a man.
Not only is she now still single, but also her sister's going off with this guy.
Exactly.
Things are even worse for her.
Precisely. So she ends up on a date, long story short, with
Barney Gumble.
Barney Gumble.
Homer's best friend since high school.
Yeah.
So we were friends in the previous episode where we covered The Way We Was. Or the previous episode, I should say.
Yes, yeah.
So
Skinner at this point is looking to propose to Patty. Gets a massive ring and carries her up, blindfolded up to the top of the tower at the elementary school.
Yeah.
And
he's so in love with Patty that the elementary school has fallen into disrepair and Bart's taking control and he's getting away with all sorts. But carry on. He's at the top of the tower. He's proposing to Patty.
Proposing to her by also burning the "Will you marry me" into the grass.
Yeah.
Proposes. She points out about the fact that he's the perfect guy for her, but no,
because her sister needs her, and he understands that
exactly.
And Skinner sees the state that the school is in and vows revenge on Bart.
Yep. And
Patty comes and takes Selma away from her date with Barney.
Yep.
Barney gets a big pitcher of beer.
And that's pretty much it.
And Bart gets his comeuppance.
He ends up having to sow the entire field now because presumably it got ploughed to get rid of the evidence of his failing marriage
proposal.
Yeah.
What a great and semi-brief recap of an episode.
Brief. I'm telling you.
I'm going semi-brief. On the grand scheme of recaps, that's semi-brief. Brief for you, long in the tooth for me.
It's not that bad.
Long in the tooth. Should we go straight into Ion Springfield or will we? That's the sound of Ion Springfield, the segment where I cover characters who've made their first appearance in this episode, and David goes, okay. First appearance, David, of Ralph Melvish. Who is Ralph Melvish? I'll give you a clue.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't known by that name in the future, in later episodes. This is the only instance where he appears under the name Ralph Melvish.
Is he the dude that gets married that you almost never see again? The
co-worker?
I was just thinking his name might change.
I'll give you a clue as well. His name is never said in the episode, but it is seen written down. And he does appear physically in the episode. He's deep in thought.
Yeah.
Make one more guess and I'll give you another clue.
Try to think of, there was two fucking people that I remember seeing in the episode and I'm like, this is going to come up in this fucking segment. And I can't remember any real description of them to actually give you.
One more guess and I'll give you another hint that will really seal the deal.
What the fuck was that section in the episode? Shit. We've only just watched the episode.
Not even hazarding a guess?
I'm trying to remember.
Save me some editing and take a stab in the dark.
I can't stab in the dark at anyone. Because I know the rest of the characters.
Thrust your knife!
Who?
In the dark, that's the point of stabbing in the dark. You don't know who you're stabbing, you're just thrusting.
that guy in the episode. That's about as
What scene?
accurate.
Name a scene.
That's the point. I'm trying to remember the fucking scene.
Dear God, man. You've made a mockery of Ion Springfield.
Oh, it's... Yeah.
Alright, I'll give you your other clue. This
Nothing.
character has a Lego minifigure.
What a clue.
You used to sit and stare at this Lego minifigures when you recorded in
Glicket expression on my face. With a fucking glicket expression on my face.
I may or may not recall Rule running off your chin, but you were staring
Definitely.
at something.
Aye, a fucking million miles away for that Lego.
Not even going to hazard another guess with that.
I'm trying to
amazing
remember who
clue.
the fucking guy was. It's not a guy and a girl. In the movie, inside the movie, is it the dude in the movie in the car kissing up that woman?
Wrong.
Well, that's who I was trying to remember.
Oh, well.
Right.
You want the real answer?
Yeah, please.
Ralph Melvish, better known by his later season name, Hans Moleman.
Oh, you fucking cunt.
Genuine anger. He's refused his driver's license. It's void.
Yes.
My
Yes.
favourite Simpsons character of all time, Hans Moleman.
Yeah.
And he says, but I need my driver's license.
Take out the command.
Yeah, she's like, take it like a man. He's looking at the eye test and he's like, C? Or maybe that's an L. And she goes, well, if that was an oncoming car, he'd be dead by now. There you go. First appearance of
Oh, fucking hell.
my favourite Simpsons character, Hans Moleman.
Why does his name change?
Maybe that's in trivia. I couldn't tell you. I believe the reason was that they hadn't intended on using him in future episodes when he was
Right.
here as Ralph Melvish. And then they saw the design and were like, holy shit.
Right.
This
right.
guy needs to... And they were like, well, we can't call him Ralph Melvish because he looks like a mole. So
Yeah.
we'll just call him Hans Moleman.
Right.
He's Ralph Melvish here and then he's unnamed. Like, they don't say his name again for a period of time.
Right.
And it's in later episodes that he becomes Hans Moleman officially.
Right. Right.
I'm really putting my Simpsons knowledge to the test. He enters a film into a competition.
Mm.
It's like man getting hit in the groin by a football.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know.
But it's Hans Moleman getting hit in the groin with a football. That's his short film.
Right. Right.
And I want to say there they say man getting hit in the groin by a football by Hans Moleman, and that's where that comes
right,
from.
Okay.
But I could also be fucking wrong.
It's about as close to fact checking as we do here.
Aye. First appearance, David,
Oh, very good.
of Vladimir Lenin. David, who is Vladimir Lenin?
Is that the guy that was in the car smooching up that woman?
Are you yanking my fucking chain right now?
No.
Vladimir Lenin.
I can't even remember.
Fucking
anyone in
Russian political leader Vladimir Lenin. They look
there.
at
They were even
Pat-
in there?
Patty and Selma. Look at not Patty, sorry. Selma looks at the memory book of trips they've been on. They went to Russia.
So they did. Right, yeah.
Vladimir Lenin.
Right.
Is that
right.
the guy in the film?
I don't fucking know. I couldn't remember any other characters that had been actually not seen yet.
Oh my god. You're definitely not going to get this one.
No.
First appearance of Stanley Peterson.
Not the guy in the car?
It's the guy that gets married at the start of the episode.
Okay.
First appearance of Martha Peterson, the woman he gets married to.
Yeah.
First appearance of Jimmy Pearson.
Is he in the car?
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Guy in Car is on here. I didn't include him because he's a fictional character in the
Okay.
world and he doesn't
Okay.
show up again.
All right. Okay.
First appearance. Oh, wait, he's actually shown. No, because it's not his first appearance, and I'm going to get into that later on.
Oh, okay.
I'm so on the ball with this. I'm so fired fucking up. First appearance of Jimmy Pearson. Who is that, David? Think about the episode. I'll give you a clue.
Hmm.
It's part of their date but it's nothing to do with the movie.
The when they're on the revolving fucking restaurant and he's the waiter.
Yes.
Nice.
I need a noise for when you're right. It happens so infrequently
fucking
that I've not come up with one
ding or something.
yet. Wrong-o. That's
in there.
iconic now.
Yeah.
I need a right or something like that. First appearance of Ms. Finch.
Ms. Finch.
Miss Finch.
Was there a teacher in there that didn't
Nope.
clock?
Nope. You should know this one.
I should know most of them, to be fair.
Because you've mentioned this one already. You mentioned this character in your recap, David, but not by name. Her name is not spoken, but it does appear on screen. He's collapsed into his microphone. Maybe Ion Springfield should come before recap. Really get your juices flowing.
I think it would be worse.
I think opening the show with intro music,
And then
intro would drive away
everyone. Yeah.
Ms. Finch is the person that Homer scans at their workplace.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where it's like,
Right.
Colin's not a man.
Not a man, yeah.
And lastly, David, first appearance of Groundskeeper Willie.
Well, that's the caretaker for the school.
Scottish caretaker.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Your favourite character? Have you told me that before?
I told you it was my favourite in the Simpsons wrestling
That was it.
in the game.
Your favourite character to play is in The Simpsons Wrestling, a game
Yes.
that I own, but I don't think I've ever actually played.
Oh, right. Have you not? I don't own it, but I've played a lot of it.
I'll play it when we get to it. I think
Nice.
I'm holding off for now.
Yeah.
You ever noticed that Naruto, is that who that character is? Is that
Naruto, yeah.
looks like live action Bart Simpson?
Hmm.
The
I see
hair,
that, yeah.
the orange shirt,
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
thing. Bart Simpson is Naruto.
Yeah.
So, David, now that we've finished Ion Springfield, let's bring
Yes.
it back around to the question I tried to ask you pre-recap. What do you
Let's
think?
do that.
How effective do you think this episode was in being, essentially, to my memory at least, the first
Sort of side character.
spotlight episode is what
Yeah.
they call it. First episode to essentially not have any main Simpsons family member leading the story, or even like
Yeah.
a main point,
Yeah.
a main part of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, Homer, Bart, they have their funny moments.
Yeah.
Lisa has one line.
I'd say Bart's really kind of like the B plot. If even that.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
quite a small
so.
part to the B plot.
A very
I guess.
minor B plot.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
almost no B plot in this one.
Pretty much,
And
yeah.
Homer's the instigator for the story, and he gets a few funny moments.
Yeah.
But really, this is a Principal Skinner, Patty Bouvier story.
Yeah, it is. I think it works quite well, to be honest. I think it's quite nice taking the focus off The Simpsons for the first sort of time, really.
Mm.
Obviously, it wouldn't be great if they did it all the time, because then you'd never know The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But I quite like the fact that I think season 2, halfway through season 2, is a good place to really sort of start focusing on the rest of the residents of Springfield.
Yeah, start bridging out and incorporating them more.
Yeah.
It's something that a lot of other animated shows, or even just similar sitcoms, I think, fail to do.
Yes. Yeah.
You end up with your core group of characters, and then
and that's it, really, isn't it?
side characters, or maybe appear once off, or show up for a joke
The
or
odd
something.
time. Yeah.
Family Guy is the one I'm thinking of mainly. where
Yeah.
Those side characters don't really get like a proper serious look in. They're there for jokes and
Maybe an episode or two, but that would be kind of the
well,
extent of it, I think.
they're in the episode, but the story isn't revolving around
yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's always centralized on the actual family.
Your main characters.
Yeah.
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 I think it does a good job of exploring
Works well.
Patty and Selma and fleshing them out. Obviously, in
Yeah.
season 1, they're basically the same person, both of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And their entire thing is just smoking cigarettes, being the gross aunt stereotype or
Yeah.
gross family member,
Yeah.
and hating Homer.
Yeah.
That's having a
That's-
hate
That's
relationship
pretty
with
much
Homer.
it. Yeah.
Hate, because there's 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Whereas here they both get pretty distinct personalities.
they do. Yeah.
Skinner gets fleshed out a lot as well.
Yeah. I like Skinner episodes. I usually quite enjoy them.
He's one of my favourite secondary characters.
Yeah. I think he's an absolute idiot, but I really like him as a character.
He's an absolute idiot and he's totally incompetent, but also he's quite smart and very competent.
Yes, yeah.
It's situational. It's
Yeah,
totally
very.
situational.
No, I agree with that, definitely.
I don't think they've established that he fought in Nam yet. I think that comes later, but
Yeah, I think it does.
there's a lot of good Skinner scenes that revolve around that.
Yeah. No, I like Skinner, and
I love how genuine his love for being the principal of this school is.
Yes.
Like, he thinks their lunch meals are the best. He's
Yeah.
excited to eat there.
Yeah.
He says that he hasn't had a home-cooked dinner in a while when Homer invites him to dinner, which
Yeah.
Agnes was introduced in season 1, but not quite. Their relationship wasn't quite established.
No, it wasn't even their relationship, and Agnes herself was very much off from where she sort of really normally is for us.
The reason I bring this up is because later seasons would establish that they're still living together.
Yes.
Here the implication is obviously that he's a single bachelor living on his own.
Yes, yeah, and getting
That's
like
why-
microwave dinners or takeaways or whatever.
Or, his own poor attempts at cooking.
Yeah, aye.
Aye. I think this is the first time that we see Patty and Selma working at the DMV as well, which becomes a staple of their characters in future seasons. And
I'm quite glad they did, because they are perfect for the DMV.
yeah, aye.
I know almost nothing about the DMV, but the DVLA.
DMV stands for Department of Motor Vehicles, by the way.
Yes, that's the one, and is obviously American.
Yeah.
Springfield, America.
Somewhere in America.
Yeah. Whereas the DVLA is the
Driving and Vehicle
Vehicle
License
Licensing Agency.
Agency. I thought it was association.
I think it's agency for DVLA, and then there's
Driving and
the
Vehicle License.
DVLS as well.
Which is the Sexual Association.
Yeah, that's the one.
Driving and Vehicles License Sexual Association.
That's the one. SA. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, fucking hell. No.
it's for when you want a car that's a limo with a hot tub in the back. You have to go there. Or like, it's like a van with
your
a
mind went for limo with a hot tub, and my mind went for a fleshlight in the tailpipe.
Oh, well, we live different lives. I'm in the back of a limo in a hot tub, and you're shoving flashlights into tailpipes.
Yeah. That's
Different
why
lot.
it was a bit sort of splashy in your limo the other day.
I did wonder. I thought we're rocking, but we're not driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
establishing the Patty and Selma work at the
Yes. Even though I don't really know the DMV outside of like cultural references and whatever else shows and things.
Aye.
And the absolute terrible representation they get, which is probably very fair.
It's very warranted from what I understand.
Yes. I can definitely empathise. I think that the DVLA is probably not as bad,
Yeah.
because there's a lot less people to service and to be at the service of.
Yeah.
So they're obviously less busy. But I would definitely say that I can definitely empathise.
That sound, that David inhale sniff, is the sound of 3 blind mice. Trivia! This is the trivia segment of the show where I say trivia about the episode that we're talking about, and sometimes just in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know why it's called 3 Blind Mice Trivia, as I say every week, go back and listen to Season 1, Episode 2, Bart the Genius.
Yeah.
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 David,
Yes.
a mother of a friend of Mike Reese told him, around this time that this episode was released, or just after, she said she enjoyed the show,
Mm-hmm.
but hated, quote, The strange bald man with those massive brown lips. What character was you referring to, David? Simpsons character is a strange bald man with massive brown lips.
What?
Simpsons character.
Is there anyone with massive brown lips?
She was, of course, referencing Homer Simpson's beard line as being massive brown lips. Understandable.
Aye, but come
Easy
on.
mistake to make.
Really? Lips encompassing your chin?
Cartoons are a crazy thing. You can put anything to pencil to paper. As you well know.
I do.
From your search history. Those Pokemon can do all sorts of things.
The skin cut.
Nope.
Yep.
Moleman, or as he was known at the time, Ralph Melvish.
Yeah.
His design was very controversial within the creators of the show. Notes came back to specifically never design a character like him ever again.
Alright. What the fuck?
Because he's hideous. He's a little freak of a man.
Yeah. But
And he's also like a weird colour.
yeah,
Like
he
he's Simpsons Caucasian, but he's not quite yellow
Yeah,
in this appearance. He's kind of like got
he's kind of like a muddy yellow, almost.
like an old man. Look at like the kind of tan.
But he's not like the paling old man
It's
either.
like the tan that you get from your skin just leathering.
Yes, he is.
Disgusting.
He's an old man lost in Mallorca. That's what it is.
Oh. He's an old man living in a retirement village near Las Vegas.
Oh, that is definitely about right.
Homer's vision in the scene where he searches for a man for Selma is a reference to the Terminator,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yep.
There is a Vertigo reference in this episode.
Yeah, but
I was cackling like a
Yeah.
madman when at the second he started running up the stairs. I clocked it as a Vertigo reference,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Skinner has kind of Jimmy Stewart vibes overall.
Yeah, he does. I'd agree with that.
So when he's running up the stairs, obviously that's a reference to the movie Vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that bell tower appears later on.
Mm-hmm.
It appears twice in the episode. Once when Skinner sees that Bart has put his name on the lawn,
Anyway, it's a bird's eye view of the deed.
and once again at the end of the episode when he proposes to Patty.
Yep.
I don't think that bell tower ever shows up in another episode. In fact,
Really?
I think when they show Springfield Elementary, I want to say it's not there. I want to say it was almost exclusively for this episode.
Right.
But we'll see.
It does look like a fairly decrepit building. It looks
Why
like it
would
could
the
be
school
getting...
have a bell tower like that?
I don't know.
Why would it an elementary school? It's not even like a college or university. Why would an elementary school have a bell tower?
Maybe the elementary school was changed or rebuilt from or repurposed from a different
I guarantee
building.
there's an episode that contradicts that and says
Probably.
no.
More than likely.
Bart's prank calls to Moe's Tavern were inspired by the prank call tape to the tube bar that circulated on underground tape for years before finally being released on CD, according to Matt Groening.
All right.
The creators of the tapes have given interviews where they express resentment at having been ripped off for The Simpsons.
Really?
I mean, you're not exactly making a high work of art there. You're doing prank calls to bars and putting them out on underground tapes.
Yeah.
You're not really sculpting the Mona Lisa, you know.
To be honest, I think
Painting
I
the
would...
Mona Lisa.
Yeah, aye. Painting the Mona Lisa, sculpting David.
Sculpting the thinking man. I can't relate.
Yeah. I would have... I mean, obviously, those guys and me are clearly different in that respect, but I would have been sort of pleased
Yeah, that
at
you're
the fact that you got known enough that you're actually inspired The Simpsons
yeah.
and Bart and Lisa prank calling.
Let me ask you this: without the Simpsons,
Would anyone know who
would
the
we
fuck
ever
they
be
are?
talking about these clowns?
No,
No.
I don't even know what the bloody hell those underground tapes were until you just told me about that.
I wouldn't be
piece of
doing a
trivia.
podcast about underground prank call tapes. I'll tell you that much for free. I know usually in this podcast I take this as an opportunity to say I make this. There's a running joke where I say our other podcast, and one of us improvises a name off the cuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm taking this opportunity to do the opposite and say never.
Never. Nope.
John Vitti named Principal Skinner after B.F. Skinner, the psychologist who performed experiments on his own children.
All right. Fucking hell.
I don't know anything about that.
I kind of sort of like there was a vague bit of recollection of that when you said about it there, but I'd never clocked the reference or even the name otherwise.
Odd, very strange.
Yeah.
Principal Skinner is meant to wear a toupee. They decided not to go down that route with the character.
Good, I think.
Fun fact, you know who else wore a toupee?
Who?
Jimmy Stewart.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All actors from that era, really. John Wayne, Sean Connery, William Shatner.
Oh, I knew about William Shatner.
They're all wearing toupees.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart wasn't even bald either. He just had like a slightly pushed back hairline.
Right, so he just wore a piece at the front kind of thing too.
I think it was like a whole...
Was it really?
Whole toupee. I think they just flattened his hair down and put like a toupee on it.
Man, that would have caused baldness.
No, he had hair until he was an old gent.
Okay. You know how there was like I digress, but let's go for it. You know how there's like the white wigs thing in like the Victorian times and whatever else?
Powdered wigs and such.
Yeah. Not just the fact that those were like infested with fleas and lice and whatever the hell else.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of that, but because of the abrasiveness of the webbing. It actually caused people to go bald.
Well, I imagine with it...
I mean, nowadays, obviously,
they would have like flattened down his hair and then put like
a smooth cap or something.
Yeah. It would have been fully protected.
Yeah.
You can find out more about this though on our Jimmy Stewart podcast. Merry Christmas, listeners! Every Christmas we do one episode where we cover a Jimmy Stewart movie.
Nice. I like that. Low effort podcast.
Low effort podcast.
I don't have too much effort for Jimmy Stewart podcast.
Maybe we'll do it every Friday in December or something.
Sure, let's do that
for a year.
Yeah, I could still hack that.
Well, I'm sorry, miss, but your money's in Jimmy's house. That's my Jimmy Stewart impersonation.
That's not bad.
It's in Fred's house, and it's not the best one I've ever done. I've done better Jimmy Stewart's, but I'm a little hoarse. Groundskeeper Willie was Spanish at first, then Swedish, then on the third try, Dan Castellaneta did a Scottish accent.
Right.
And we're glad he did.
Yeah.
World-known Scottish icon. Groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah.
Maybe like in the top 5 most famous Scottish people of all time.
Probably.
In terms of the world.
Yeah.
It's like him, Ewan McGregor, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And that little Scotty dog too. The one that wears ginger pigtails. You know the one.
Yeah.
Oor Willie.
Yeah. Oor Willie.
I do a podcast called Our Willies where we talk about Oor Willie.
Yep. Oor Willies are stuck to that bucket.
Well, that's a local reference. Stroking Oor Willies. Hard Willie talk. We're really getting in there with the Oor Willie.
Our Willies. No, it would have to be Oor.
It's got to be Oor. Let's not talk about Oor Willie anymore. Scottish reference. Local Scottish reference.
Fuck him. They can learn.
This Space Mutants movie, I clocked this at the time, but I didn't say anything. I bit my tongue in half.
Is that why you're sort of stumbling over some words?
No, that's just me.
Yeah, I could.
This Space Mutants movie is a sequel to the previous Space Mutants movie featured in season 1.
All right. Okay.
Now, I don't know if you didn't clock this, but I did.
No.
It's the same scene. The couple are in the car. Remember Bart?
Oh, yes.
It's in the Telltale Head. Bart, Jimbo, Dolph, and Kearney sneak into the cinema and they're watching the movie.
Yeah.
And the scene is there's a guy and a girl and they're on a date in a car. Classic horror movie trope, and a big space mutant pops out and grabs them. And in this, it's the exact same scene, except the characters are Australian.
Yeah.
And speak with like Australian references and dialogue, and then the space mutant has a pouch with a little space mutant in it, and other than that, it's the exact same scene.
Yeah.
It's making fun of franchises like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Where it's the same movie, but this time it's in New York.
Yeah.
Jason Goes Down Under. Crocodile Dundee in space.
Yeah. A werewolf in Paris. A werewolf in London.
An American Werewolf in London, and then
Yeah.
the sequel, An American Werewolf in Paris.
Yeah.
An American Werewolf Down Under. Quigley Down Under. But it's
Yeah.
just Quigley Down Under. There's no original Quigley movie.
The Rescuers Down Under as well.
Yeah.
The Rescuers and then the
Kangaroo
Rescuers.
Jack.
Yeah.
Mad Max. He's naming us Wake and
we're
Fright.
we're going there.
Australian films.
Yeah.
There we go. Chopper.
Oh, it's The Patriot.
There we go. One more for
Our
good
famous Scottish-American actor there.
one. Famous Scottish American Australian actor
yeah.
Mel Gibson.
That's the one.
Is there anything you can't do?
A lot. Not hit a woman.
No, he can do everything, but he really should stop.
Yeah.
He really should stop doing
Yeah.
a few things.
Definitely.
I love him in the movie Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas
Yes.
staple for me now.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Oh, let's get this finished.
Yes.
The script originally had Nelson Muntz throw the egg at Skinner, but due to the episode running over, they cut the scene down and had Bart throw the egg instead. I think it makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
for it to be Bart,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't turn down another Nelson scene.
No.
We haven't had
Definitely not.
Nelson since his introduction, I don't think. Bart the General. That was the last time
Yeah.
we saw him.
Yeah, I think so. Unless he was in a crowd shot somewhere.
Maybe, but I mean, like, I was speaking a main role.
Yeah.
At the animatic, when Dan Castellaneta read the line, "You haven't seen the last of old Willie," everyone in the room joked, "Bye, Willie," as they assumed it would be the last time he appeared in an episode. He's still in the show today.
Yeah.
He also has his own Lego minifigure,
Yes, he does.
along with Ralph Melvish.
Yes, he does.
That's the end of 3 Blind Mice trivia.
Good. So, you gonna ask me a question?
Nope.
Good. Well,
David, what was your one bit of animation that you actually quite liked in this episode, Principal Charming? This is a segment where I asked David for one bit of animation from this episode that he actually quite liked. And he gives it to me.
usually.
Raw.
Yeah. So in this episode, it was actually a couple of pieces that I had to narrow it down.
It was an interesting episode animation wise.
It really was.
It was generally good animation, but lots of off model characters as well.
Yes,
Lots of
yeah.
funky looking Skinners.
Very much so, yeah. The one I ended up settling on was, as my one bit of animation I actually quite liked, was the Vertigo reference and scene.
Really?
Yes, I love to look down and you see the stairs fucking extending
There's
as
a
well.
term for that shot, but I can't.
Yeah.
remember. It's usually just called a vertigo shot.
Yeah.
But it's done in live. I can tell you how it's done in live action if you want.
Sure.
Do you want to hear it?
Let's go for it.
I have to.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Go for it.
So what happens is you move the camera in one direction, whether it be backwards or forwards.
Mm-hmm.
You alter the lens focus in the opposite direction.
Right, okay.
So the thing that's you're focusing on stays in focus, but the back that your focal point shifts.
Right, okay.
I did a really bad job explaining that. I kind of fucked it up, but whatever.
Yep.
Staying in.
Yep.
This is often referred to as a dolly zoom.
All right, okay.
You dolly the camera back.
Mm-hmm. Whilst zooming, I guess.
No,
Or
you don't. You change the.
Oh, the focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also famously used in the movie Jaws. You know that scene
Oh,
where
yes.
Chief Brody sees what he thinks is the shark, and it's like, doo, in the background zooms out.
Yeah.
And he kind of very
Right.
good camera work.
Yeah. It would be very sort of interesting to be able to actually get that just right.
Yeah. It's a lot of
practice and a lot of
planning.
Yeah.
It looks good here, recreated
Yeah.
animation. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you see that shot much nowadays.
I don't think so.
But you don't really see much good camera work in films nowadays.
No, not really. Yeah.
Flat angles on a green screen. or in a void. That's what they call it now.
Yeah, aye, that's the one. Aye, because the entire area is green, isn't it, usually?
No, it's a void. It's like a dome bubble of screens.
Yes. Oh,
That's what they shoot the
that's
Mandalorian on.
I was going to say that's what Disney use, isn't it?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that you asked, but my one bit of animation that I actually quite liked was going to be the same. I'm
Really?
a big
Okay.
fan of Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Nice.
It's not even just a dolly zoom shot.
Right, yeah.
It's
the actual...
entire the shot of him running up. Because I clocked it before the dolly zoom shot.
You did.
I saw the shot of him running up the stairs from the side, the very first one, and I was like, this is 100% a vertical reference.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to the top and it's the bell tower, that's another vertical reference. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah,
I love when they do. I love that they don't draw attention to it either.
Yeah.
They don't make a big deal of being like, someone doesn't go, those stairs are so high, they're giving me vertigo.
Yeah.
Or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It's just, if you clock it, you clock it. And if you aren't familiar with the reference, you don't feel like you're missing out on something.
Yeah. Or that you're being detracted from the story or anything like that.
Yeah, aye. It's or that you've had an element of film history kind of ruined for you.
Yeah.
It's that's what's so great about these early Simpsons movie references is when you go back and you watch classic films, there's so many moments where you see something and you go, "Oh, that's what the Simpsons was referencing." This scene now has a totally different meaning to me. It's like a new context beyond what it originally had.
Yeah,
great stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You can find out more about that on our Alfred Hitchcock podcast, Hitching My Cock to Your Wagon. We talk about Alfred Hitchcock movies and the movie Paint Your Wagon, starring Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin.
That'd be quite fun.
Every episode we have to talk about Paint Your Wagon.
Yes.
Which means
we have to sort of shoehorn it in somehow.
Every week we have a discussion about a Hitchcock movie.
Mm-hmm.
Break. Discussion about Paint Your Wagon, and we have to watch it every single week.
Good. I will enjoy it.
I'm sure you will. Coming soon.
Yes. To a Spotify near you.
David, do you have any final thoughts on this episode?
Yeah. One of the things that we were sort of discussing before when we said about it was interesting animation for this particular episode.
Yeah.
Was about the fact that there's a lot of really off-model and really weird-looking Skinners and stuff. I still felt like it worked.
Yeah.
It was toeing the line, I think.
It doesn't detract from the episode at all.
But it really doesn't distract you from what's happening in the episode. It doesn't take away, and it doesn't really pull you out of the story.
Yeah.
With how disturbing that particular shot is, or whatever, or that angle of the character is.
Yeah, there's no front-facing stuff really.
There's a couple of front-facing shots, but they don't do it in the same way.
They're done. They're not artfully.
They're not as distorted.
Yeah,
and because of that, they kind of look a bit better.
My second bit of animation, if I wasn't going to go with the vertigo, which I forgot to say, would be the scene of Patty and Skinner kissing.
Oh yeah, the
peephole in the door.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
Disgustingly
vivid.
Yeah, that's the word.
That wasn't one of the ones that I actually even had as the narrowing it down.
Really?
I didn't think about it. But if you pointed out, it definitely would have been in the ones to narrow down. The one that I was going to choose, short of the vertical reference there, or vertical scene, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is Homer when he gets back in from the barbecue joint, and the really low angle to just accentuate the
up his crotch,
massive,
basically.
Massive belly he's got. Undoes the belt and then
flops out even more,
and then it just pops out. It pops the button and everything.
Up
yeah. I just thought it was really, really quite well done, and some good camera angles for an animation, especially there. But
there's another good camera angle when Skinner approaches Bart and his friends.
Yes,
and says, "I hear you're thinking of doing such and such at this time. Don't bother."
Yeah, dropping your pencils at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great low angle shot that really causes Skinner to kind of stretch above the kids.
I think The Simpsons does it quite well. More often than not.
Interesting... At this point, they do. They were experimenting with a lot of filmic, I guess you could say, camera work.
Yeah.
And we're saying camera work even though we know that it's an
Yeah,
animation
it's not
and
actually-
it's not like an
yeah.
actual camera.
But
It's just a turn of phrase.
realistically, a lot of people, when doing animation, approach it as if there is a camera.
Well, that's the best way to
And-
approach it.
Well, yeah, it usually turns out to be a much better work because you're actually focusing on where everyone's viewing things from, and you
Yeah.
get better perspectives and all
And you
sorts of
can
other things.
consult like the history of cinema and the
yes,
craft of
yeah.
filmmaking and
Precisely, and run off of live action filmed camera work basically,
Yeah.
and you can utilize things like that in your animation style and whatnot.
yeah.
So I think this, like I said, I think this episode, even though it does have some really off-model visuals, it still manages to pull it off really quite nicely. So there's a lot of distorted facial expressions and stuff. Not massively
Yeah.
in this episode, but one of the things that I did notice is all of the main characters, all the family of The Simpsons, there's no real distortion in them.
They don't seem off. They're
they are,
perfected by this point.
They're bang on model,
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
no really odd shots of them. And that's usually the ones they give you the odd shots, and then that detracts from the episode.
Bart has a few odd moments when Homer is talking to Principal Skinner, and you can see Bart sitting outside.
Yes, he does.
He's got like a droopy upper lip, and he's looking a bit
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah,
But that's like in a background thing. That's
yeah.
It's also important to remember when we're watching these older episodes, they weren't meant to be viewed on like a big flat screen TV
Yeah.
or a laptop monitor.
Yeah.
They were meant to be viewed on like an old curved,
Yes.
heavy back CRT monitor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with pixelated video games. The reason that
Yeah.
pixels look very blocky and
Yeah.
bad on your modern screens is because they're designed to be kind of blurred by the old CRT TVs to
Yeah.
make the image that you're supposed to be looking at.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why
It blurs the lines a little bit more
right up
than
until like
the crisp
your,
edges.
even stuff like PS2 games.
Mm-hmm.
That may
Yeah.
be why your memories of those games looking a lot better.
It's not just the nostalgia haze.
You
Some of
were,
it probably was because it probably did look a little bit better.
yeah.
For what it was anyway.
That's why a lot of people who do, it's total tangent again,
Yeah, it's fine.
who do collect vintage video games or do retro gaming choose to have one of those TVs to be used with that. One of the things I think that we've somewhat neglected to mention so far is
Yeah.
how Skinner and Patty's relationship works so well in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think if their relationship didn't work, this episode would have fallen flat.
Oh, yes,
And
definitely.
it easily could have, because it's a character like Patty that maybe people aren't fans of based on her limited screen
Yeah,
time in season
yeah.
1.
Yep,
And then you've got Skinner,
yep.
who's also not as much screen time, and the screen time he has had has been
Fairly negative mostly.
dedicated to like his rivalry with Bart. He's a funny character,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people maybe not fans of him.
Yeah,
But I think it makes him likable, and it makes both the sisters likable.
it does.
And their relationship is really the beating heart of the entire episode. And
Yeah.
how well their dates are depicted, and
Yeah,
Skinner
yeah.
being in love with Patty, and Patty obviously not wanting to admit that she has feelings for him, and
Yeah,
neglecting his advances and punching him and kicking him across the room.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole time trying to pretend like she's not having a great time, but really she is actually having quite a nice time. So it's like the things of the first time when she laughed.
At the revolving restaurant.
Yeah, when she first laughed and Skinner's
That guy
reaction
who
to that as well.
graduated in 1971,
Oh,
Skinner says.
Fucking hell, yeah.
And like graduated in 1971,
yeah.
30 years old. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
If you were born in 1971 now, you'd be
Yeah.
53.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that guy would be 60s, 70s.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
He'd be retired from being a busboy.
Finally.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. But what I also quite liked about that particular, it was a really sort of nice moment when she first laughed, Skinner's reaction to that laugh, and realizing he actually is getting somewhere with her,
Yeah, yeah.
and actually, she's enjoying her time herself with him, and then she didn't clock. She didn't even sort of like not self-aware about the fact that she laughed at that moment.
Yeah.
She then
Yeah.
laughed again, about a second or two later at something else that was said.
Yeah.
And it was then that she realised and sort of like almost scolded herself for the fact that she was outwardly expressing she was having fun.
Yeah.
And so she retracted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like really sort of showed a little bit of her personality and a little bit of her humanity of
Really
herself.
great character work in this
It
episode.
really is quite impressive character
Maybe
work.
the best
It's quite
character
subtle.
work that we've seen so far.
Yeah,
It's up there.
yeah.
I love how well that reflects Marge's line as well. That Patty's voluntarily celibate.
Yeah.
But Selma's an incel.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram at InsertBrainHerePod or on Twitter at T422. That's the letter T422.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our website, insertbrainhere.podcastpage.io, where you can find photographs of us,
Mm-hmm.
podcast episodes, and a whole bunch of other stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This has been Insert Brain Here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host, Connor, and with me, as always, was my co-host, David.
That's me.
We'll be back next week to talk about Season 2, Episode 15, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and all major and minor podcasting platforms.
This is a T422 production.
This was a T2 production. And we'll
Smell you
later. Bye-bye.
Ta.